Hey everyone, we got some good stuff. It looks like breaking. We like breaking stuff, yeah? When it comes to the Kerch Bridge and making sure Russia doesn't advance anymore through there and use it as a logistic artery. Let's get a little music going. This is complete. I haven't even looked into it other than what I saw briefly. So I want to take a peek on stream and investigate it together. What is going on? What Kerch Bridge doing, if you will? How's everybody doing today? Good morning. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream last night. Man, I got more questions than answers though. About HR 2548, I reached out to my congressman, every one of his offices locally, the White House office, and finally got a number to call or an email to send off to a gentleman who can help me understand the bill a little better pertaining to Section 17 and the tariff, 500% tariff imposing on anybody importing or exporting Russian petroleum, oil, and uranium, which could inadvertently hurt Europe, isolate us, and many other negatives that need clarification. And there's still time for amendments, so I'm not saying the bill is like a poison bill yet, but clarification is definitely needed. So as I've been saying just about every freaking stream, advocate, advocate, advocate. This is a good time to build a rapport with your congressman's office. Get them to know you, call them, tell them who you are, tell them where you are, and ask them you want additional information on HR 2548, Section 17, and see exactly what that means to them. They went for the support columns with that. I read 1,100 kilogram TNT. Yeah, that's what I woke up to Greg Terry saying Kerch Bridge attacked. I was like, oh, yes. Oh, matter of fact, I'm actually on the Kerch Bridge Telegram. Because I want this bridge to go down so bad. For years now. Even back when I watched that channel that reported it had been destroyed 10 times. I've been wanting the bridge to end. So let's see what they say on Telegram real quick. You guys know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to say I'm on stream. They don't need any publicity. They're garbage. Okay, what do we got? I bet it's going to be, so I'm on the Russian Kerch Bridge Telegram. And what I do is, I get notifications on the hour every hour, and I've been getting them for years now. Just because I want to see. Let's see what they say real quick.
Со стороны Керчи очереди перед пунктом досмотра нет. В очереди со стороны Тамани находится 100.
There is no queue at the inspection point from Kerch side. There is 110 vehicles in the queue from the Taman side. Huh. Did they already get it back up? Alright, this is at 5:23. Knowing them, they're letting vehicles go across it even if it's damaged. How's everybody doing this morning? Compromised, maybe. There are pics. They hit underwater, not destroyed, but car part is damaged. Nothing to see here. Traffic on Crimean Bridge is temporarily closed. We ask those on the bridge and its inspection zone to remain calm and follow the instructions of transport security officers. Stolbliet. Okay. So more of the same, more automated responses. Everything's fine, nothing to see here. Does anybody know the time of the actual attack? Oh yeah, here's an update. Here we go. This one's unusual. Let's see what this says. This one looks different than usual. Too many words for... Okay. Dear travelers, the summer season is starting. The creators of this channel, as in previous years, plan to inform you on current information about the length of the queue for travel. Oh my god, seriously? Are they not even going to report it? They didn't even report it? You're kidding me, dude. How... Okay. What's this? That would be hilarious if they didn't even report that it got hit. There's no queue for inspection, blah, blah, blah. Dude, I don't even think they reported it. Did they just report it was temporarily closed? That was it? They do that all the time when there's traffic or a warning. That's nothing unusual. They didn't even, like, report... They didn't even report that it was hit, guys. I'm looking at the frickin' Telegram channel for the Kerch Bridge updates. 4:44 a.m. The one I just looked at was 5:23 a.m. 4:44 a.m. What time? 5 hours ago? Okay. 4:44. Yeah, okay, so that would be here. Нет пиздец. They're not telling. There are no difficulties in accessing the inspection points on either side of the Crimean Bridge. And that was at 5:04 a.m. from the Telegram channel of the Kerch Bridge. Let's see what really happened, yeah? Oh, temporary close. Look, even Google says, hey, by the way, Russian Telegram ain't gonna tell you shit. They're gonna waste everybody's time going there and turn them around. Nothing to see here. You just can't go across. There's nothing. It's a smoking accident. All right, let's get into it. Ukraine strikes bridge connecting Russia to Crimea with underwater explosives. How do you think do you think this is one of those submarines that did it? Sea baby, huh? I didn't see a sea baby. You would have saw that. And plus, they've got all sorts of defenses on there. This is going to be interesting how they pulled this one off. Ukraine said on Tuesday that it hit the bridge. I want the music back. That was chill. I'm going to put the music back, guys. I'm still having my coffee. Ukraine said on Tuesday that it had hit the bridge connecting Russia and the occupied Crimean Peninsula with explosives planted underwater, in its third attack on the vital supply line for Moscow's force. No, I don't want a sink. Forces since full-scale war began in 2022. Dude, how much you want to bet they, like, used a drone? Like, some weird, like, frickin' batteries not included drone to plant that thing. Ukraine Security Service, the SBU, said on Telegram that its agents had mined the piers of the road and rail Crimean Bridge, also called the Kerch Bridge, and detonated the first explosive at 4:44 a.m. Tuesday. The whole operation took several months, it added. The agency said it had used 1,100 kilograms of explosives, which severely damaged the underwater pillars supporting the bridge. Traffic on the bridge was suspended early Tuesday morning, then again mid-afternoon, before resuming shortly before 6 p.m. local time. Okay, so traffic's back and going. Although the scale of the damage was not immediately clear, Tuesday's attack is the latest example of the SBU's attempts to blindside Moscow and demonstrate that there are costs to continuing its war. Boom. On Sunday, the SBU launched an audacious drone attack on Moscow's fleet of nuclear-capable bombers stationed at various Russian airfields thousands of miles away from Ukraine. That's all kind of coming together. So, oh yeah, there's more. Vasyl Malyuk, the head of the SBU, said the attack caused an estimated $7 billion in damage and had struck 34% of Russia's strategic cruise missile carriers, which have been used to pummel Ukrainian cities throughout the war. The SBU said Malyuk had also overseen Tuesday's attack. Okay, here's where it gets really clever. Coffee. Yes, coffee. This is black coffee too. Camping does sound amazing. I'm going in July to Oregon. Yeah, what else is planned? So that's exactly what I'm getting at. Linda H and Jess. Yeah. So here's where it really gets tricky. God loves the Trinity, and the SBU always see things through to the end and never does the same thing twice. We previously struck Crimean Bridge twice in 2022, 2023. So today we continued this tradition, this time underwater, Malyuk said. So here, okay. Read between the lines there, guys. What do you think's happening next? I want to hear it in the chat. You think what I just wrote there, what I just read there? They mined it, yeah. Terry came up with a new vid. Awesome. Okay, I'll check it out afterwards. They have to check all the columns to see if there's more planted. How'd they get past all this security? I thought that was like the most heavily secured bridge in the world. So to me, when I'm reading this part where it says God loves the Trinity, I'm still thinking there's going to be another attack coming here tomorrow or the next day somewhere. Because he is talking about how the Crimean Bridge has been struck 3 times, but it's also been back-to-back strikes now. Like secret Mission Impossible strikes now that said they couldn't do. What's going to be the third one? Is there going to be another one the next day or two? It'd be really exciting to see. If I was the Russian government, I would be extremely nervous right now. Okay, so he stressed that the bridge is a completely legitimate target since Russia uses it as a logistical artery to supply its troops fighting in mainland Ukraine, as well as serving as a vital supply for Moscow's troops. The Crimean Bridge also has huge symbolic value for President Vladimir Putin, embodying his objective to bind the Ukrainian peninsula to Russia. Built after Russia's annexation of Crimea in 2014, Putin opened the bridge in 2018. The project cost around $3.7 billion. There's a picture of some of the damage. See, that's damage on the top. How'd they mine the top? Did like someone go in and just like literally I posted that little freaking seal on the Sea Baby. Did they like pull off some straight like special forces op where they went in and just like scuba dived in and actually planted the bombs? That would be so badass if that's how they did it. Trump Vance to Zelensky, you hold no cards. Yeah, that's over. It flew up on landed there. It flew up on it and landed on it. Tuesday attack marks the 3rd time that Ukraine has targeted the bridge since Moscow's full-scale invasion in 2022. In October of that year, a fuel truck exploded on the bridge, engulfing a part of it in flames. In July 2023, the SBU said it had blown up a part of the bridge using an experimental sea drone. Both times, Russia moved quickly to repair the damaged sections. As well as suspending traffic on the bridge, Russian authorities temporarily halted maritime traffic in the waters of Sevastopol, the largest city in Crimea, according to state media RIA Novosti. See, that's got to be damaging their economy too, because they have to halt their logistics, halt their supply. They got to stop everything, pretty much. Everything goes on freeze. So like what happened in the United States in 9/11, just on a smaller scale. just stops everything for a while until they figure out what's going on. Oh yeah, there was also 2 bridges that collapsed. 2 bridges collapsed in Russian regions bordering Ukraine, killing at least 7. Looks like a cigarette smoking accident to me. Dang. Emergency services work at the scene of the bridge collapse in Russia, Bryansk region on Sunday. Blyat. 2 bridges have collapsed in Russia's western regions bordering Ukraine, killing at least 7 people and injuring dozens, authorities said. It was not clear on Sunday morning whether the 2 incidents, which both involved trains in neighboring Bryansk and Kerch, were related or what exactly caused the separate collapses. At least 7 people were killed in Bryansk when a road bridge gave way onto a passenger train late Saturday, with railway authorities citing illegal interference. Oof. Son of a bitch. The bridge came down in region's Vykolnichi district, about 10 kilometers, 62 miles from the Ukrainian border, crushing the moving train and injuring at least 66 people, including 3 children, Russian authorities reported. Bryansk regional governor Alexander Bogomaz blamed the collapse in his region on an explosion, saying the bridge had been blown up, according to the media. Bogomaz said on Telegram that 44 people had been hospitalized, with 3 in serious condition, including a child. The train was carrying 388 passengers. Among those killed in the incident was the train engineer, Russian state media outlet RIA Novosti reported. The train was traveling from town of Klimov to the capital of Moscow when it was hit by the debris from the bridge and derailed, according to RIA. Images of the wreckage from Moscow Interregional Transport Prosecutor's Office show fallen debris and concrete on top of what appears to be the passenger train and derailed carriages. As emergency service attend the scene, Moscow Railway said the collapse was caused by illegal interference in transport operations without providing further details. That could have been anything. Medics wait for the arrival of wounded passengers. Right here. Bad time to fly and bad time to take a train in Russia, apparently. Greg said that when it blew at the bottom, that landed on the top. Oh, it landed on top? Holy crap. That's a big bavovna. Stupid autocorrect is killing you? Yeah, I get it. Either that or you got a little bit of the sauce in your coffee. Which whatever. Only on a Tuesday. That's fine. Passengers were evacuated from the wreckage and were taken to a temporary accommodation center at the nearby station, according to TASS. Railway workers later discovered damage to another section of the railway track, also in Bryansk region, Bogomaz said, adding that there were no casualties. In another incident overnight into Sunday, a bridge collapsed in Russia's Kursk region, which also borders Ukraine, as a freight train was passing over it, injuring one of the drivers, according to the acting governor of the region. Part of the train collapsed onto a highway that was under the bridge, acting governor Alexander Kienstein said on Telegram. The incident caused the train to catch fire, and emergency service personnel worked to extinguish the blaze, he added. Putin received updates about the 2 incidents through the night from the Federal Security Service and Russia's emergency ministry. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said Sunday, according to state media. State media also reported that the Russian leader had discussed the incidents on the phone with Bogomaz and the head of Russia's railways, Oleg Belozerov. Oh, they broke their train. Aww. A third incident on Saturday night, a Russian military freight train was blown up near the occupied city of Melitopol in Ukraine's Zaporizhia region, according to Defense Intelligence of Ukraine. As a result of the explosion, the train with fuel tanks and freight cars derailed on railway track, the intelligence service said. The freight train was moving towards Russian-occupied Crimea via a key logistical artery often used by Russian forces, the authority added. Since Moscow launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine, Kyiv has responded to Russian aggression by launching attacks using drones, artillery, and troops in the Bryansk, Kursk, and Belgorod regions. Pro-Ukrainian agents and sympathizers inside Russia have also carried on acts of sabotage against Russian targets. In 2023, a fire that ripped through a train as it traveled along a strategic rail tunnel in eastern Russia was attributed to the Ukrainian Secret Service, SBU, according to a Ukrainian defense source. You've got 20 screens open right now on Ukraine. Notice the theme: all truck traffic stopped. To now check the drones, railroad bridges destroyed, Kerch bridge hit, logistics. Yeah, it's all logistics, exactly. I think they're getting, like I've been talking to some people and they're saying they're getting ready for a big assault. So this might be attempts to interrupt that big assault. I mean, we've known this was coming. The weather's nice. The ground's dry and hard. There's no mud. It's not like they're in the Rasputitsa. They're getting ready for a big push. Absolutely. I'd read the rest, but I'm not gonna. See what else we can find on this. What else? What else do we have on Kerch? Is there any more video? Has anybody seen any more video online? I'll check Instagram. Dang, pops right up. That didn't take long. Let's see if we can find anything else. I'm not good at this platform. Excuse me. Oh God. What? Oh, here's how they did it. That's a good one. I know, I hear the Kerch Bridge song in my head also. Underwater bomb. I want to know how they got it there. I bet they're not going to say because they want to do it again. Here's what the Crimean Bridge looks like in section, showing the damaged supports highlighted in red in the image. According to the security service, there were 1,100 kilograms of TNT equivalent were used in operation near the base of the structure. Yeah, it's saying here, oh dear, damage supports not just the span. That's pretty terminal for long term, at the very least. And they threw that bridge up really quick, if I remember. Like, it's not like Russia used code enforcement. All right, I'm back. I'm back, I think. That was weird. It's back fully. That was really weird. It's a perfect day outside. My internet just dropped completely all of a sudden. That was weird. It didn't even give me a warning on OBS. It just, well, it did on my screen, but over on my OBS studio, it didn't even say anything. I made the it's because I'm reporting on the Kerch. It's because, guys, I'm telling you right now. It's because I didn't say Kerch Bridge destroyed. If I would have put that there, my internet would have been fine. Kerch Bridge destroyed for the 8th time. No attack dolphins were injured in this attack. Facts. So what I was saying is that the way they designed this bridge, I believe that if the pylons are damaged, and the ground starts shifting, because it wasn't put into like a really hard sediment in the ground, from my understanding. It was built in a really poor spot, and the bridge itself shouldn't have been built, or at least manufactured the way it was. It was done kind of poorly, but I could be completely wrong on that. It's big, it's heavy, but I believe if some of these pylons do get weakened or damaged, that if the ground shifts, that whole bridge is coming down. Am I wrong? Or at least a big section, right? Russian nibbling on my internet cable. Oh, there's a good satellite picture. Look how huge that thing is. Nope, that doesn't work. Damn. Instagram is like my worst. For some reason, is like the worst app for me to, as far as user friendly in my brain goes. That's a long ass bridge. It's windy too. Look at that thing. That thing is begging to fall. And there's not a lot of fault activity over there either. Like if you bring up the earthquake map, there's like zero activity around there or Ukraine. But look at that thing. It's too big not to fall, in my opinion. Well, so now they gotta worry about their bridges, their trains, their airplanes. So it's pretty much a case of trains, planes, and automobiles. Russian grifting cope lords got nothing. Facts. Willie OAM. Is he even relevant anymore? I think a torpedo is technically called a submarine. I think. But I don't know. Could be called a torpedo. The seabed is a poor foundation. Even the German refused to build one in World War II. Okay, that's what I thought. I believe the ground shifting is why the German in World War II decided not to build the bridge. Okay. So, valid. So, I wonder if there's anything on YouTube about the Kerch Bridge construction. Eight years ago, that's when it was being constructed. We're gonna take a peek of this. Let me cut the music real quick.
Russian President Vladimir Putin's pet project, a bridge to link Russia with Ukraine's Crimean Peninsula, is continuing as scheduled despite stumbling blocks caused by a difficult winter and criticism that the structure is doomed to fail. The road-rail bridge will span the Kerch Strait against the wishes of the Ukrainian government and international community. According to one of the companies working on the project, Black Sea winter storms did not influence the construction schedule. The works are conducted today in accordance with the master schedule, despite the fact that during the winter period, the works had been complicated by weather conditions. We foresaw this issue during scheduling of the works, so during the winter period, we concentrated our work on the shore. The Kremlin...
So they've been talking about having problems with this thing since the very day it was built, and it was doomed to fail, is what they're saying. Can it fail, like, now? God, wouldn't that be great to see it just like later on today? It reports the whole thing just freaking collapsed.
Sees the bridge as a vital element to integrating Crimea after Russia occupied and annexed.
I mean, this is a valid military target. This is where they're shipping men, supplies, materials, ammunitions to kill people. This is a bridge of death, and it needs to be severed. Absolutely. This. Man, it's got to go.
Ukrainian Peninsula. Putin has called the project a, quote, historic mission. However, several Russian and Ukrainian engineers have criticized the bridge for being poorly planned and designed. It consists of two separate parallel structures, one for road and another for rail traffic. According to the plans, the construction will extend for 19 kilometers, and it will be the longest bridge of its kind in Europe. A Russian government order from 2014 stated that the road part of the bridge should be operational by December 18, 2018, and the railway part a year later.
All right, a little brief history there. Ow! God damn, dude. That was loud to me. Sorry, guys. There's an old video of Putin body double driving across the bridge as part of an opening ceremony. Yuck. Yuck. Putin Jason Smart. Okay, we're gonna skip that one. Jason J Smart. Putin vanishes after bridge attack. Okay. How do you vanish out of a bunker? I bet you he was hiding in a bunker right after this last drone strike. Here's more old video. This is from France 24.
Time for focus, and today we have a report on the construction of a bridge between Russia and Crimea. It's been 3 years since Moscow annexed the peninsula from Ukraine, and the only way of keeping
This is years old. I just want to go back in a little history of what they were reporting on.
Crimea supplied is by sea or air. That means higher prices, Moscow insisting that will change once the bridge is completed. Elena Voloshin and Thomas Lowe report.
The Kerch Strait, where 30 or so journalists have been invited by the Crimea Bridge press service to see how the construction work is coming along.
The bridge is being built to schedule. As it stands today, 267 pillars have been put in place.
Work here in the Black Sea Basin is carried out 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. By the end of 2018, 4 car lanes, and in 2019, 2 railway lines are expected to open between Russia and Crimea. They're 19 kilometers long and cost the equivalent of 3,700 million euros.
19 kilometers, was that 15 miles? Something like that?
Massive project of great importance to Vladimir Putin. So the teams working on the bridge aren't skimping on getting their message across.
Это на века. Это моя дорога домой.
It's 11.8 miles. God, I suck.
Это моя страна. Мы строим мост.
All those men are dead on the front line.
In the meantime, the connection between Russia and Crimea is made by ferry for passengers merchandise, as well as armoured cars and military convoys that they try to stop us from filming.
Let's not film the armored cars.
Why not?
It's military equipment. You need authorization to film it.
Before the
Well, now we know why they didn't want to film it.
annexation, just 3 ferries were in service. They carried 7...
See, this is more evidence right there that this attack on Ukraine was planned out decades ago. Decades. They've spent decades figuring out how to make the Soviet Union great again. They have their puppets in place. They have propaganda just fed into our society. They stay quiet on America, behind the scenes attacking us for decades now. Decades. And children growing up completely absorbed into Russian propaganda, and we had no clue. We were clueless. We won the Cold War. Oh, yeah. Took the pat on the back and quit paying attention and thought they just stopped hating us. And this couldn't be farther from the truth. We put our guard down, and now we're paying for it. And if we don't get enough people paying attention and realizing this, it's going to get very, very worse. We didn't win. Good point. Basically, since Muscovy formed in, it can be argued, yeah. I mean, yeah, it can. It never stopped. No, it never stopped. We said we won the Cold War. We one of those, oh, victory. Oh, yeah, we won. Oh, yeah. Claimed victory. Fabricated victory. That would be American propaganda. That would be Western propaganda that fought. Our Western propaganda fought against us. Because we put our guard down. We should have never done that. And if you want to really get sort of controversial about it, we probably should have been there supporting Russia during their transition into democracy, along with the rest of the USSR, instead of just celebrating the victory of the Berlin Wall coming down. We probably should have had U.S. aid workers there. We probably should have been a little more involved in the transition because they had a chance. And the only thing that happened was widespread corruption, economical struggles, empty shelves, and it fell apart. And we had our chance. Could they have their chance again? Maybe. Maybe, but if we ever get to the point where this is over and the war is over, you better fucking believe we better be there, at least overseeing some of the process of transfer of power to a democracy or to fraction states or whatever happens after this to Russia, because Russia's never going to recover from this. The world, I mean, it's going to be 100 years for the world to forget again until they even have a chance to do this. Anyways, that's my rant.
7 times less passengers than they do today. The number of trucks transported has gone up too, from 13,000 in 2013 to 300,000 last year, because now almost all merchandise sent to Crimea comes from Russia. Ferries make the journey around the clock, but the director of maritime traffic says the bridge will be welcome.
We'll be relieved when the bridge opens, because the maritime passage is supporting a significant load, and the infrastructure we've inherited from Ukraine isn't sufficient to fulfill all the objectives.
Inherited? You mean stole? Inherited? You believe this guy? Oh, blit.
Those living in Crimea hope for just one thing, that the prices go down. Everything on the peninsula costs at least 20% more than in Russia.
Here, a can of peas costs 56 rubles. In shops in the Krasnodar region, the same can would cost between 35 and 40 rubles.
A large number of trucks travel from the Krasnodar region to deliver goods to Crimea.
It's not a large distance between here and the Krasnodar region, no more than 300 to 400 kilometers, but delivery costs the same as if a truck had to cross the whole of Russia.
That's because of uncertainty about the ferry journey.
The biggest problem in winter are the storms. The ferries stop running and our shelves are empty. In summer, there's a flood of tourists and the trucks carrying merchandise aren't prioritized. Then there's the Russian suppliers. Quite a few don't want to deliver to Crimea, and particularly not perishable goods, because the risk their merchandise won't get to us is too big.
Nikolai is promising to reduce his prices thanks to the bridge. Others even expect to make a profit. Jakub owns one of the largest construction companies in Crimea. He, too, expects his production costs to go down significantly, linked to the price of transporting materials.
Our deep wall covers 3.5 hectares. Over there we have more land. We'll expand our territory further. This cement works won't be sufficient anymore because our production volumes are going to increase.
Jakub takes us to one of his building sites. A specialist, he has his own ideas about the bridge project that some have criticized for the risk it entails.
The engineers...
InfoRabbit says, I am wondering if Trump and Putin are competing. Who will go down in history as the biggest failure? Well, that's yet to be seen. And there's a lot going on right now in the world. Yikes, man. You know, right now, just based off their cabinets, Putin still has people around him that have a sense of intelligence. Somewhat. They're dangerous, and they're freaking brutal and ruthless and uncivilized, but they know how to pull the strings of the Western machine. Trump just put loyalists in there that want to grift money. He could give a shit less about this country. They could care less about this country. They don't see lines on borders and maps. They don't. They see dollar signs in bank accounts across the world with their billionaire buddies and contracts and what they can take for their families. Because that's their vision of a healthy future. Everybody else gone, their family's alive. They don't care about me or you, average people. If anybody's ever had rich friends, they don't look at you the same. They don't. They look at you as a toy to play with. So, biggest failure, I've got my money's on Trump. And the way things are going right now. Because nothing that's coming out is directly supporting Ukraine anymore. There's nothing. We've got this HR bill right now that's sitting, and it's going to a council, I believe. But there's verbiage in there that could damage Europe along with China and India, which would completely destabilize a lot of these countries. And not everybody in these countries are as gung-ho for Ukraine as we are. Because, I mean, I've came to realize we have a small community and we live in sort of a small echo chamber that we try, other people support. They don't support like we do. They don't. I mean, look how much time we spend a day talking about it, advocating for it, fundraising. Your normal person doesn't do that even if they feel bad about what's going on. Then if you impose a 500% tariff into their society because they're accepting Russian oil, which most European countries still get petroleum, uranium, or oil, either through Russia or a proxy. Look at France, through Kazakhstan and Tajikistan and Nigeria. They get most of their uranium through there, but I don't know if that's affected by the sanctions, so I'm not going into that. But if you're going to disrupt the flow of gas and energy because you're going to put a tariff, I think that tariff will be widely ignored. And only a 180-day waiver from the president to say it's fine for 180 days, and then you get tariffed 500%, and that signed into law stays there. Then you're talking about Germany probably going AFD in the next election cycle because they have an energy crisis. You're talking about France potentially having the same effect. Many European countries strengthening China and India and their dependence to Russia, and having a lot of these countries begging for bricks and Russian oil because they don't have enough energy. And that's the ugly and nasty truth about the world we live in right now. A lot of these countries are structured upon Russian oil, and they have been for a long time. And it's going to take more than 2 years to get out of this. Minimum 4, just to figure out new contracts and what to do. So it's an ugly beast, but I feel like perhaps there's stuff in that bill that would hurt Ukraine, and we gotta keep our nation in good health so we can continue to support, and we gotta make sure that whatever is happening for Ukraine is in their interest too, and doesn't push people against them because they're finding hardships because of it, because it can get spun that way through propaganda for sure.
Argued with each other to begin with. Some said it's impossible to build this bridge. There's silt at the bottom of the strait and it's an area at risk of earthquakes. But as one of my building professors said, nothing's impossible for builders. Everything's a question of money and calculation.
The cost of the Crimean development program to 2020 comes to 11 billion euros by current ruble exchange rates. The bridge is part of a broader strategy that Jakub believes is already bringing some concrete results.
Mitch Ashton says, yeah, there's a crap bill that is nothing on what is supposed to be about. Then why are so many Democrats co-signing it? Why are there so many Democrats involved in that? And I fail to believe they just did it out of raw emotion. Maybe they're human too, because any Ukrainian bill for a while, this is the first one we've had in a while. Sounds good to me too. So, and they've got people that read this, right? They have people that go through this pen by pen. Why is this such a bipartisan bill then if it's going to have that verbiage? Like I said, this is a good time and this is a good reason to call your representative and ask these questions. I did it earlier. I emailed my rep. They sent me to the White House. Well, I called the White House. I sent out this. I'm a constituent of Thompson. I live in blah, blah, blah. And also online social media influencer who raises humanitarian aid for Ukraine. I'm looking for additional information on HR 2548 Section 17 in regards to the duties on countries that purchase Russian origin oil, uranium, and petroleum. The ugly truth is that most of Europe receives petroleum products from Russia, along with India, China, and many others. And what a 500% tariff to the global market would mean to the United States and the entire world, including our allies. There is wording in the bill that would allow the president a 180-day waiver to the penalty. But after that, all hell would break loose globally, potentially leading to global unrest. Let's make this very clear. I cannot stand what Russia is doing and what they have done. And if this is the push come to shove needed, so be it. But I do not speak for the entire world, obviously, because we are different here. And if critical energy is cut to the people who could care less about Ukraine, my concern is that it may push many of our European and Asian allies begging for Russia and Chinese exports, strengthening BRICS and isolating America from the global economy, along with inadvertently harming support to Ukraine. I'm looking for clarification in the section of the bill in response to what the impact to our allies and our country may be. Thank you for your time. Sincerely, Renegade Chungus. So we'll see what the response is. But yeah, could be a crap bill or we're missing something. There's a lot of sections in there that I noticed that are linking to other bills that have been passed in the past, and I haven't researched them yet. So maybe there's something in the detail there other than the devil.
We doubled construction volumes between 2014 and 2016. Before, we built 50,000.
I mean, on top of that too, like there's a lot of like coalitions that are actually pushing for this bill too, and they have teams also that go there and read it. So what the hell, you know? So we need answers, and we need them quick. And this is the time to do it. So guys, if you could, join my Discord if you could. I posted a challenge to everybody to go and call the representatives today in regards to that. It's posted in the announcements. Here's the link to my Discord. Brand new Discord. Hey, Canty. There's the link to the Discord right there, guys. Come join. Take the challenge today and call your rep. And I've got the details in the announcement.
Square meters per year. Today we build 100 to 120,000, and that's going to increase.
The bridge and the money being plowed into the peninsula seems to confirm the unanimous view of Russian political analysts. Vladimir Putin has no intention of ever giving Crimea back to Ukraine.
Joining me now in the studio is Tornike Gordadze. He's a political scientist, an ex-Georgian minister. Hello, thank you very much for coming in. Now, what do you think about the construction of this bridge between Russia and Crimea?
So when Crimea was occupied by Russia, many people said that, okay, Crimea has always been Russia, and they tried to justify. But it showed that, in fact, if Crimea was included in Ukraine, it was because it was logical, because all the transport and other links, economic links, were from Crimea to Ukraine and not to Russia. So then the construction of this bridge is a pet project of Vladimir Putin. What is interesting is that the people who are in charge of this construction works are the closest oligarchs from the first circle of Vladimir Putin's friends, who are under sanctions in the West, in America, and in Europe, and they are pouring lots of money in this project. By the way, this is a very significantly is part of it. Works. The Russian state works like this. So you launch like big public projects, and then you give these projects to your friends who are oligarchs and who are taking state money, and then they are financing and helping you in political life. So this illustrates also how the political economy of the Russian state quite significantly. Yeah.
I'm not sure what you can tell us about this, but I was reading, though, that it's not being built in an area that is even safe, or that there's a high seismic activity, and that there's...
Wait, there's high seismic activity? Canty, didn't we go over this the other night? And there was, like, no activity? We did. I remember we were on that, like, outrageously long stream into the next day, and you brought up that tracker. Canty, if you know details on this, you got time, come hop on the stream.
Issues of its depth and the quality of the construction, and if it's even going to last.
I'm not a specialist of geology or other sciences, but yeah, I've read same.
Low seismic, but it is on a fault line. But if it's low seismic activity, what does it matter if the fault line's not moving? Someone explain that to me. I'm not a earthquakeologist.
Same criticism. I don't know when these works will be accomplished and finished, but if for...
Is that a seismologist? I don't know.
I don't know, 60, 50 years, there was no such a plan under the Soviet Union. That means that this is not an easy thing to do. So there's some logic in the fact that there was not such a bridge before.
But didn't the Ukraine and Russia plan, I think it was in 2010, to do a similar project together?
No, there was lots of projects that were discussed. At this time, in 2010, the president of Ukraine was Yanukovych, who was a pro-Russian leader who made lots of concessions to Russia, including on Crimea, including on at the end about the association agreement with the European Union. So yeah, these projects were.
Canty, I sent you the link on Discord for the Google Meets.
Part of the projects that were discussed.
So do you think doing this now, then, you were mentioning then it's about giving friends of Putin's the opportunity to invest in this, but what about the people of Crimea? Is this really going to benefit them and affect the prices there?
Yeah, people of Crimea are quite disappointed because when Crimea was annexed, the Russian state was telling them that you will have Russian pensions and Russian salaries that are higher than in Ukraine, but then they have discovered that the prices in Russia are much higher than in Ukraine. It's like 2 or 3 times higher than in Ukraine. So they are very much disappointed. The tourism is dead. Even if Russian state tries to all
right, Canty, I'm going to finish up the segment and I'll pull you over for the seismic activity and the earthquake area.
to have lots of subventions, to make lots of subventions and push people from Russian Federation to go and spend their vacations in Crimea. The infrastructure is very old. People, they just don't want to go there. They prefer Turkey, Egypt, or Bulgaria, or other countries in the European Union that are almost the same price and with much better infrastructure. So ordinary people in Crimea are very, very disappointed.
So they're not getting the message then with such a construction project that the president really is looking out for them then?
Maybe there is such a thing. Yeah, I cannot say that the people are against of this bridge. Of course not. They hope that it will bring some progress in their lives, and economically it will bring some benefits to Crimea. But everybody knows in Russia, when the same thing for Sochi Olympics, or when you have these big public states